We got the power bar, Marc-Andre Barriult coming off of a fantastic finish against the Cuban Missile Crisis Julian Marquez. And then you got Eryk, your boy Anders, coming off of a fantastic finish against a fighter who hasn't, I guess, aged that well, Kyle Dawkins, no longer in the UFC, but Eryk Anders was the crux to kind of close that show, right? He hit him with the big shot, dropped him, and that was all she wrote. Now, this is another one of those almost clone matchups to me, AJ, where both guys like to be on the front foot. I would say Eryk Anders is a little more patient than Marc-Andre Barriult, who I think will be able to beat Anders in not only the speed department, but I also think he'll be able to beat Anders in the angle department. If you watch Eryk Anders, you'll notice he's a little stiff, but he's still able to get win after win after win. What do you make of Eryk Anders being able to legitimately compete at light heavyweight the way that he did, and is now saying, I'm revitalizing myself, I'm really cutting the weight. 185, we crisp, clean, and ready to go, because that power clearly translates. What do you make of it?
Well, that's where not necessarily the stiffness, but the kind of plodding style that you're talking about. I agree with you. I think Barriult is a little more crisp on the feet, more technical. He's able to out-corner him, outmaneuver him, and speed-wise. But that power, those leg kicks, bro, those leg kicks that Eryk Anders throws, I believe it was his loss to, let me make sure, where is it? Where was he? Khalil Roundtree. There we go, Derek. I was over here stumbling over here. The Khalil Roundtree loss really changed your boy Eryk Anders for the better. I mean, this dude, that's where he became patient. That's where he became a true mixed martial artist fighter, man, and grew a lot and still growing to that. And arguably, I mean, maybe just because I'm a Dawkins fan, without the headbutt, that fight could have ended a little different. Kyle Dawkins had the speed on him, didn't necessarily have the power, didn't necessarily have the wrestling or anything else, but it was a big moment in the fight. Power bar. It seems like he could withstand that. If you withstand the bombs that the Cuban Missile Crisis is throwing at you and you're still able to come back, cut him up, dirty him up, make him basically quit on the feet and have the ref step in because he's just too stubborn to actually go down. Man, that's a dangerous fighter right there in both of these dudes. And in fact, this one is a lot harder to pick, basically even money, on the odds makers. Very hard for me to pick as well. For a long time, I was going unders. But then power bar just has that little bit, and like you said, not necessarily speed, not strength. I mean, or not speed, not agility, not technique, but just that kind of pressure where a counter striker can make things work in tight holes. And that's where I like power bar in this fight. What do you think?
Well, see, I'll say this, man. I think that there's a lot of good things about Marc-Andre Barriult in this one that he has on paper that just tools look better than Anders, man. On paper, Anders doesn't look like a very impressive fighter, but when you watch him fight, he's incredibly effective. And I think a big part of that comes into being able to stop you from doing what you do best. So Marc-Andre Barriult was able to kind of corral some of the power of Marquez by clinching him up, strikes out the clinch, push him against the cage, and keep him there, right? Anders does that really, really well. And when he gets caught in that position, he reverses really, really well. So if you take that away, then we have to talk about cardio. Well, everyone is saying he's the power bar. He has ridiculous cardio. That's why they call him that. The man has seen 3 rounds like a couple times in the last 10, right? But recently, there's been more finishes than there have been real cardio, just straight, you know what I mean? Going 3 rounds, going crazy, right? So he did get that 3rd round loss to Fluffy Hernandez, where Hernandez broke him down. That was kind of a rough one. He had a decision win against Dolce Lungiambula, who does not have the same attributes that Eryk Anders does. And then the last other 3-round fights that he partook in, Jun Young Park, the Iron Turtle, and Krzysztof Jotko, and he lost both of those fights. So my question is this just an overhyped narrative of, oh, he's got all this ridiculous cardio? Man, 2017, back as far as my record is going right here, you haven't really won a ton of 3-round fights. Eryk Anders, on the other hand, same kind of boat, right? But nobody is really claiming that he has some killer cardio. I just think cardio might be something that we need to kind of throw out the window a little bit. Do you feel what I'm saying, or am I overplaying this?
No, 100%, Derek. When I was breaking this down on Twitch yesterday, I thought I was insane. I thought I was misunderstanding things. Everybody was clamoring for this guy's cardio. He can keep the pressure on the gas, foot on the gas, all 3 rounds. And I'm like, man, the last I remember, it seemed like he had a little bit of a cardio issue, and we haven't seen it actually happen since then. I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about. So I'm glad I feel a little bit validated over here because I was confused.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's where this fight, if this one's a dogfight, if this one makes it into those late rounds, that's what's going to be the X factor for both of these gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the fresher fighter when they're towing the line and willing to swing instead of saying, well, I could go back, I could just kick it, that's going to be the real one right here. I think it's power bar, but at the same point, man, if those leg kicks are taking you out from Anders, that power bar drains pretty damn fast.
And this is the last thing I'll touch on for this one, man. I think that I'm just going to let the cat out the bag. I like Eryk Anders in this fight. But I know for myself, and this is like, I love me some Eryk Anders, but from my own experience, it's always not fun betting on Eryk Anders because he leaves it sometimes razor close margins, man. The fight against Jun-Yong Park, where it was like arguably he won, numbers wise, he could have won, but he lost the decision. If it goes to a decision, I anticipate another nail biter, and I anticipate coming back talking on this program and maybe bringing up a robbery report or just one of those contentious, was it a robbery? What are we calling it? I fully expect that. So no, folks who are betting with my picks, I expect that with this Eryk Anders fight, and give me the plus 300 decision victory against Marc-Andre Barriult at the power bar. How do you see it?
Get the mask, get the strap ready, folks. We're already prepping for it because I'm with it, Eryk.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking that I'm going Marc-Andre Barriult, but I'm going by decision. I think it's going to be a highly contested one. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I'm hoping for taglines tomorrow on Saturday morning, Sunday morning, whatever it is. But this one's going to be a fun fight to open this up. I'm happy these boys are scrapping.